Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Dan Jovic.
And I'm Jackie Jovic. Two things are true. Summer is here and COVID-19 remains a part of our lives.
The traditional summer vacation may not be the same this year, but if you're still looking for something to do with your family, Destination Texas might be the answer.
Today we'll be highlighting local attractions your entire family can enjoy. Did you know there's a place where wild animals roam in East Texas?
That's right. You can get up close and personal with them at a drive-through safari park in Jefferson. NBC6's Heather Wright takes us inside.
Aggie is the largest resident at Lonesome Dove Safari Park and one of the most beloved. He resides here with bison.
The female is Star and the male is Bob. Bob is younger of the two.
And many others.
We have various types of deer, zebra, camels, longhorns, alpacas, llamas.
Park manager Dina Carroll says lately business has tripled.
Before the pandemic, I think people didn't know that we were here. I think I tease that we were one of the best kept secrets in Jefferson.
Folks driving through can see over 100 animals from the comfort of their own vehicles. Windows can be up or down. Feeding the animals is encouraged, but Carroll says you have to be smart about it.
The animals don't know the difference between their feet and your fingers, so if you're feeding them outside of the window, you need to make sure your hand is kept flat. Some people, that's a little bit too much interaction for, so it's fine if you throw the food away from the car as well. They'll get it off the ground.
At the park's petting zoo, you can see the affectionate camel, Steve, along with Louie, the slow-moving tortoise, and Jack, the napping kangaroo.
Jack and then the tortoise Louie, it's hard for them to regulate their body temperature in the heat, so they tend to stay either in the little shed or the igloo during the heat of the day.
Carol says the animals are most active in the morning when they're hungry.
Oh, Max is telling me it's time to feed him again.
There are plans to add a train on the property this fall.
Now, meanwhile, in downtown Jefferson, families can take in a little history and some fresh air with a train ride through the wetlands along the Big Cypress Bayou.
Heather shows us a surprise stop along the way.
Visitors to the historic Jefferson Railway can roll through history on an antique gas-powered locomotive.
Very powerful engine. Don found this in a field in Iowa and brought it home and had it rebuilt.
On the trip, see historical ruins from the 1800s, including one of the few remaining Confederate powder magazines.
And the steamboats came up the Big Cypress and deposited all of their powder in the powder magazine so that when the steamboat pulled into Jefferson, it didn't have powder on it, so there was no danger of it blowing up.
Halfway through the trip, owners Don and Francine Rainey treat visitors to a view of their 30,000 square foot alligator pit.
We have a zip line that goes across the pen that we put our natural food on a little zip line, and then the alligators just jump like 6 feet out of the water and grab the food.
The former nuisance gators were brought here by wildlife managers. Some are up to 9 feet long.
Gators actually can live 50 years in captivity. They don't eat very much. They eat only twice a week. They are also able to catch fish in our pond too because the water flows right in from the Big Cypress Bayou into the alligator pit.
This year, the Raineys added an open-air car to their train to accommodate more passengers and help with social distancing. They're set to roll every Saturday through the Labor Day weekend.
I have never seen an alligator jump. I don't need to, I guess. Well, a unique property of the Texarkana Museum system is believed to be the only one of its kind in the country.
Interesting. Heather, it takes us inside the Ace of Clubs house.
A visit to the Ace of Clubs house is like stepping back in time.
It's only been renovated once. It was built in 1885 and it was renovated in 1901.
This house is shaped like a club, and museum system officials think they know the reason why.
Rumor has it that the money to construct the house was won in a poker game and that the winning card was the Ace of Clubs.
This three-story home features large rooms, many of which have a different kind of door.
We believe one of the reasons they might have had these timber doors is because in the old days you got taxed based on the number of rooms you had. It's one reason you won't find a lot of closets in homes, because anything that had a door created a room.
The basement of the home is surrounded by a moat. Museum officials say with the help of the cupola, a steady stream of air is created.
In our hot summer days back in the 1800s, when there was no air conditioning, really made the house quite comfortable.
Guided tours of this home, along with details on its rich history, are available to the public. Museum officials invite everyone to come and take a glimpse of life back in the 1800s.
Being exposed to things that you don't normally see, it sort of ignites sparks in people, and you never know where that spark may take someone.
That's pretty interesting. Well, there's plenty of green space to be enjoyed in Texarkana. The city services a total of 11 parks covering 500 acres.
Heather tells us about the many trails you can explore.
Whether you're looking to walk, fish, or bike, there are plenty of parks to enjoy in Texarkana, Texas.
We have steady questions all the time about where the trails go.
At Bringle Lake, options include sidewalks and this boardwalk, which connects Bringle Lake West to Bringle Lake East.
It's also the start of our wilderness area, which is popular for mountain biking and hiking.
For the adventure seeker, Bringle Lake East is the place to go. There are 5.5 miles of trails here.
We also have mountain bike trails, which are curvy, winding, sometimes tough, also short and long trails depending on the level you're interested in.
But this is also a place where you can watch wildlife or relax in your own hammock.
It's just a really nice, peaceful place to come spend time with your family or come alone and soak in nature.
If open areas are what you're seeking, there's plenty of space at Grady T. Wallace Park. This 70-acre site is located on the city's south side. And near the heart of the city, you'll find Spring Lake Park, which has been here for almost 100 years. The city recently gave this lake a makeover. Now it's 10 feet deeper and stocked with crappie and catfish.
It has a walking trail. It's about 1.75 miles. Lots of people love to fish here, watch the ducks play.
A popular place for folks to grab some fresh air and enjoy nature.
And if you love airplanes, there's a place you should visit in Mount Pleasant.
That's right. It's a tribute to aviation history. Heather gives us a glimpse inside the MidAmerican Flight Museum.
The MidAmerica Flight Museum exists largely as a tribute to America's veterans. Director Scott Glover owns most of the aircraft here.
Everything you see here flew in.
Among the bombers and fighters is this helicopter, widely used in the Vietnam War.
It's just a beautiful example of a restored UH-1H Huey. This one actually, it's a 67 model, and it's got 2,000 hours of documented combat history in Vietnam.
This collection of aviation history is tucked away at the Mount Pleasant Regional Airport. Glover says folks from around the world come to visit.
People who know aviation are drawn to this.
This amphibious biplane was used in air-sea rescues during World War II.
The J2F4 Duck. This is one of probably the rarest aircraft we got in our collection. Very few, there's only 4 of them left. This airplane was actually at Pearl Harbor, December 7th in 1941. It was at Ford Island. It flew search and rescue the day of the attack at Pearl Harbor.
These aircraft serving as important pieces of the past.
Not many P-40s out there flying around, maybe 20 of them left total.
Glover also uses them to educate children about the importance of our nation's veterans.
We have the right to have an opinion because of the freedoms that were given to us by these folks.
This museum is open most Saturdays and admission is free.
If you have a love for country, that's what we want to showcase here.
That's really interesting. Now stay with us. Destination Texas continues in just a bit.
If you're in the mood for a rodeo, Josie Ranch in Marshall is what you're looking for. Stay with us.